and welcome to another session of Meditations with Marigny. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure my mic is on. It's been a minute since I've used it, and okay, I went live a few minutes ago, guys. Started my video, and I'm getting my car serviced this morning, and I wanted to come out here and do the video before it got too hot. It's already hot. It's like 78 degrees, and it's just 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what made me set up a 7 o'clock appointment. That was not really smart. But anyway, I'm going to redo a portion of what I talked about on the previous video simply because I don't think I'm going to upload that one since I had to cut it short. They were calling me about my vehicle. And so I was like, dog, I don't think I can pause a live. I wish they would put a pause or a live button out there. So even though you're live, you should be able to pause it, click, and then come back if you need to log back on. But anyway, I was talking about dating compatibility. And I was also saying that you guys haven't really seen me. Like, I've just really taken the month of June to really just recalibrate, reorganize my life, get some things together, and try to restructure what has been going on in my life. You know, with me being in school, it has been very difficult to keep up with a lot of things, down to just basic things, cleaning my house and spending time with my kids, and just enjoying moments like this where I am truly enjoying just life. So I decided to get my vehicle serviced and get it prepared for a few things that I need to do. And then just trying to take care of myself, you know, taking some doctor's appointments and things of that sort. So if you haven't been taking care of yourself, make sure that you take time to take care of you. But to go back to what we were talking about, I want to talk about dating compatibility. And so I was speaking about if you're on a scale from 1 to 10, right? And you have a scale, all of us have an idea of where we fall on that scale. And when I say we have an idea based upon societal norms and what we are, not what we present ourselves to be, but what we actually are. Because on any given day, if I were to put in the work and go see a makeup artist and, you know, perhaps get me some, what is it, veneers? Is that what you call them? Veneers for your teeth or whatever. You know, we can make adjustments to ourselves. You know, years ago, I had an issue with crowding in my teeth. And so I wear a retainer sometimes. If I'm honest, I don't wear it like I'm supposed to. But I had braces many years ago, and I did that to straighten out my teeth. But it wasn't just straightening out my teeth. I had an issue with my bite. My teeth were so crowded that it was causing me to have a bite issue. And sometimes when I would chew, it would catch my jaw. So the corrective action for that was to get braces and to straighten out my teeth so that they would be aligned properly with where my mouth would not allow for them to allow me to chew. So when you make adjustments such as that to your life, those are good adjustments. Those are things that you are doing to improve yourself and to make sure that you are a better version of who you already are. But if you operate in a place where your adjustments have now become what you think is your standard. So for instance, if I wanted to get all dolled up, I really could. I could go and get somebody to pop me some weave in my head. I could get makeup done. They could contour my face. And you probably wouldn't even recognize who I was at that time. There are moments, maybe throughout the year, maybe once or twice, where I might get to do that. But that's not the average of what I do on a regular basis. That's not where I live. That's not the space I want to be in on a regular basis. That is a space that I visit every now and then. Like, I like to get glammed up once or twice a year and be like, man, I really feel really pretty today. But on an average basis, I feel pretty anyway. And when I say I feel pretty, not just for my outer self, but my inner core. Who I am on the inside, I feel pretty on a regular basis. And what made me think about this conversation is I was having a conversation with a young man, and we were speaking his point to me. And I told him I don't necessarily agree with that, because as a woman who has been in the dating world and has experienced certain things, what one may think may not actually be what it is. And his point to me, he was saying that I could have choices because I'm pretty, right? This was, and then we talked about pretty being relative. You know, that's relative to who's looking at the person and who's viewing them. That portion is based upon that person. And he said, you can have choices because you're pretty. Yeah, you can make a decision that you're going to be by yourself because you're pretty. You got options. You have this, you have that. And one of the things that I explained to him is sometimes, quote unquote, being pretty can be just as much a challenge as it is that people will think that it is a good thing. And what I'm saying by that is oftentimes if you're quote unquote pretty, you are looked over because most people feel like you won't have a good personality, or they automatically assume that you got a certain type of attitude. It's really not until I meet guys, especially you guys knowing with me going in the barbershop with my short hair, and then two, with me playing pool, it's not until the guys get to know me that they like, man, you so cool. You know, I never would have thought, you know, they'll tell me that a lot of times. I never would have thought that you were like as cool as you are then. You so down to earth. They would never have known that if they only looked at my external only. If they only judged me based upon what I look like on the outside versus getting to know who I am and what type of heart that I actually have. And so in the dating process for a woman who quote unquote might be considered pretty, um, that can be a very challenging process because sometimes suitors don't even give you the opportunity simply because they've already discounted you out based upon their own perception of you. And then we also talked about, you know, it's so different now dating, you know, you're dating online, you're meeting people from all over. It used to be that you only met people like from your neighborhood, from your core group. So when you talk to people that are, you know, have been together 20, 30 years, a lot of them were high school sweethearts, or they grew up in the same neighborhood, or they met because they were at their cousin's house and then this person showed up and they happened to have just been there or something of that sort. But when you look at dating compatibility, and I'm giving you guys that background because when you look at dating compatibility, the one thing that I have learned is that I will not lower my expectations and my standards for someone that is not going to match what my expectations and my standards are. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean that a person has to already be there. Same thing for me. You know, so I shared with this young man, hey, what I'm asking for, I'm willing to give. You know, there have been young men that I have met and I have enjoyed spending time with them and talking to them. And when we finish going to dinner or something like that, I might just let them know, hey, I enjoyed this dinner. This was nice. It was fun. But I realize that this is a space that you like to live in on a regular basis. This is not going to be a space that I'm going to want to stay there on a regular basis. And I'm talking about it could be something, for instance, that they might like to go to five-star restaurants regularly. They may like to go and spend $200 every week at a restaurant just to eat. That is not a very realistic lifestyle for me. And so for me, that is not going to be something that I'm going to be interested in doing. And therefore, if that is something that I know that he really likes to do, then I'm not going to be a good fit for him because I might be good at that for a little while, but can I sustain that long term? And then, you know, you might have somebody that might not be a place what they like doing, but then they want to do that. That's what they desire to do. For me, it's going to be a no because I'm not going to desire to get dressed up every week to go to a restaurant. That's just not going to be something that I'm going to want to do. I'm going to want to look just pretty much like what I look like today. I got on a nice sweater, got on a nice little cami, got on some jeans and some sandals, and I am very comfortable. And I'm good with going down the street and eating at the local Chili's or the Olive Garden or the Fridays or grabbing me something at Chipotle, or, going to my favorite wing spot, or going to shoot pool, that is where I'm going to be most comfortable. Now, if he said, baby, this weekend, it's the holiday and I'd like for us to get together and I want us to go do something, then it would be different, because that's a different occasion. It's something that's going on that, sorry, y'all. Y'all remember I told you I'm getting my car service. So, um, you know, that is different than that being a lifestyle. So when you look at dating compatibility, you have to look at the person's lifestyle. Is that going to be compatible for you long term? It might be good the first 30 days. It's exciting, it's new, you're in the honeymoon stage. But if you're looking for something that is going to be sustainable, you're going to have to look at whether or not you are going to be able to sustain that long term. And when we look at our dating compatibility, if it's a person that is not interested in moving to the level where you are, that is not going to be a good relationship long term. So one young man said to me recently, he said, well, I hadn't looked that far. I said, well, I have. Like, I'm looking as to whether or not I feel like I could spend quality time with you 5 years from now, because I'm looking for something long term. I desire something that is going to be sustainable. And so, since I'm not looking for a temporary fulfillment, there are certain things that just are not enticing to me. They're not interesting to me. They don't draw me into that person, because I am always going to be looking at something from a long term standard. Society has now set us up where everything is temporal. There is there is nothing that anybody is looking at that they're looking at long term. No one is making any type of investment. No one is willing to see what they can give to another person. People are only looking to. Sorry, y'all. Y'all getting the rawness of everything today. We done got the truck turning around in the back of me. But no one is looking to give something to someone that is going to be a long term investment. And, just over these past 6 months in the things that I have experienced, one thing that somebody said to me, he was like, man, you're so jovial and you're so happy. And I said, one of the best things that came out of the online dating for me is that it drove me into a universe of men. It pushed me into a universe that then required that my femininity had to come to its highest peak. And if nothing else comes out of it, if I don't meet anyone, and when I say don't meet anyone, if I haven't met anyone that's going to be compatible with me, if it did nothing else for me, it brought me back into my feminine space. And for that, I must be very grateful for the experience that I had. Not the experience of, the guys that stood me up, the ones that told me lies, those that said that they were going to do one thing and then they did something else, those that said that they really did want to get to know me long term, but they really didn't. They were only looking for some type of sexual fulfillment. All of those things, no matter what came out of that, drove me into the place that I'm in now. And because of that, I'm grateful. Like, I am such a better person at being me now. Like, I'm genuinely happy. And I thought about, youthfulness is really important. Like, going back to our youthful place, even in the dating process, men have so many responsibilities on their plate that it is good for them to just feel like they're a 14 or 15-year-old boy sometimes. And they don't have to think about paying the bill, and they don't have to think about whether or not her house is taken care of, the house note is done, the car note is done, did I fix this, did I gather that. It is great to position themselves to just enjoy life. And one of the things that I can say that came out of the dating process is it pushed me into a place that I helped to cultivate that. So when it comes to dating compatibility, then I can't lower my standards to give something different to someone that I'm not going to be able to receive myself, or vice versa. I can't put myself in a position where I can give to a person that can't give to me. And I really just wanted to say that to say it takes a lot of strength to make a decision that you will be alone. Alone, not lonely, but alone. It takes a lot of strength to say, if I can't have this level of relationship and this level of commitment and this level of compatibility, I will choose to then be alone. And I have a friend who did a video one time. He talked about, it just came up in my mind just now. He talked about, do women really choose to be alone? it, it's a choice based upon the options that we have. So no, I don't choose that I want to be by myself. But what I do choose is that my peace, because men talk about peace a lot. And even in a conversation I had yesterday, I said, peace is not what a woman brings you. She does not bring you peace. What she can do is, if she is a peaceful person, she can bring that peace into your atmosphere. But the truth of the matter is if you are a person or a man who continues to have discord, or you continue to have argumentative mindset, it doesn't matter how much peace that she brings to you, you are going to create an atmosphere that's what she's going to be able to cultivate. And what I shared with the young man is, no, it is a man's duty to create the atmosphere. You give me the atmosphere, and then I can actually create the atmosphere that you're looking for. Because my peace alone is going to then bring that into the place where you are. Um, so, for me, I had to look at that with some relationships that I had. I'm a pretty calm person. Like, I don't have a whole lot of argumentation built within me. So when I get into a situation and I find myself arguing with someone in my last relationship, and that's what drove me to make the decision about walking in my abstinence and remaining where I am, is no matter what we talked about, we could pick up the phone and it was like, hey, how you doing? And in the next 15 minutes, like, we were going back and forth. And I had to share with him, hey, I don't live like this. Like, this is not an atmosphere that's comfortable for me. I was fine before the phone rang and I answered it and you were on the other end. And, he was like, well, I'm just talking. This is just the way I talk. Well, no, we're not going to be able to talk to each other that way. And so I made a decision that that was not something that I wanted to engage in on a regular basis. Because if we were doing that in the dating phase, then what is that going to look like if I have to come home to you every day? And so, just like men say that they want peace, I want peace too. I want to be able to come home and not have to sit in my car for 30 minutes because I got to prepare my mind to go inside the house. I want to make sure that my home, and I'm very intentional with that. When I get home, I want my home to be the place that it is the happy place. It is the place that we find. I want my man to be like, man, I can't wait to get there, because he already knows that everything else that has happened in the world that has caused him issues and all of that, when he gets to the house, he already knows that that's not going to be the place that he then has to fight and battle as he has done in the street. And so I see a couple of comments, guys. A woman brings me peace if she, doesn't cheat. Well, I agree. That's a very vital component. That's for all of us. That's not just for you. That is a baseline expectation, and that's one of the things that even in this dating process that I have just really straight out ask guys, hey, are you a cheater? Because if you are, it's not going to be a good fit for us. We can be friends, we can hang out, we can go shoot pool, we can, go get something to eat, we can chat, this, that, and the other. But if that is a part of who your makeup is, don't even put me over in that category. I'm not doing any of that. So you are correct. Yes, a woman can bring you peace if she's not a cheater. And I think that really just boils down to trust. Like, nobody is really asking for anything extraordinary in these dating streets. You are talking about baseline. I would try, I'm trying to think of how to say it. Baseline common goals and expectations. Why is it so difficult for people to give that? And then the other thing is, I am not willing to accept less from someone that's going to give me the same thing that someone that I feel is at my dating compatibility standard would give me as well. What does that mean? If a person, let's say, and I'm just using this as an example, I'm just trying to think of something. Let's say if you normally date a person that's a certain fitness, there are some guys that I've met on the sites that I could tell that the way they spent time in the gym, I probably wouldn't be a good compatibility partner for them because of the fact that they probably would want someone that might spend a little bit more time in the gym. But I'm willing to get up and go walk and make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to stay fit. And I am planning to join the gym, but I'm not going to be a gym rat. I'm not going to be a buff with that. And I love to work out. So that's the difference with me. Like, I actually enjoy working out. I enjoy walking. Exercising is something that I find enjoyable. It's not work to me. So I'm going to read some of the comments, guys. I see one says, if they love you, they wouldn't cheat, right? I really can't say, and thank you so much for putting that out there. Billy, I really can't say that if they love you, that they wouldn't cheat. And let me tell you why. In my previous marriage, I do believe that my husband loved me. I do believe that. But I believe that he was a cheater. He would have cheated whether it was me or whether it was someone else, because that was a character and a lifestyle. That was a character flaw and a lifestyle thought process that he had. And it had a lot to do. Hold up. Okay, go ahead. No, okay, you're welcome. Sorry, guys. I saw one car coming one way and another car backing up. But um, Billy, when you ask if they love you, would they cheat? No, I think that's a character flaw. Like, cheating it has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with the person that chooses to do it. Now, I will say this. Let me put this out there. Sometimes people are pushed into circumstantial, um, what I call circumstantial cheating. So you might have the right core values and you may have a standard that you have set for yourself and you are not a cheater. But one of the main reasons for being married, and I have to say this, and I have to tell women this all the time, one of the primary reasons that a man would even marry a woman is so that he has access. He has access. He has access. You read between the lines to something consistently. So if you deny him, and this is me speaking more to the women at this point, if you deny your husband consistently, there are some husbands that I hear them complain about the fact that their wives use sex as a tool, and they use it as a weapon within their marriage. And what they don't understand is that he will stay. He will not leave. He will continue to be there in that space, but he will find another outlet. He will. And he'll stay right there, married to you for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Because men, what you guys will do is adjust to the atmosphere. So there is a difference when a man is, in my opinion, forced into that space. But it's another difference when you getting it at the house and you being fulfilled. She cooking, she cleaning, she sexing you, she's accommodating to your ugly behaviors. She's doing the things that need to be done, and you still choose to step out. Those are two different situations. And for men as well, let me tell you, and I can't speak from an experience. I can't speak because that was one of the things my husband said. He said, I just wish you would just cheat and just level it out. Like, how do you level out cheating? You're like, who does that? I'm not going to use my body as a weapon. You know, my body is the temple of the Holy Ghost. And if it is, then I'm going to make sure that I cultivate it as such. And then, sex and intimacy is such a powerful thing for me. Like, that is just not something that I plan to engage in with multiple people. It is a intimate, spiritual connection when done right. And that is why, even in walking in abstinence, you have to be careful of who you expose yourself to, because we cannot go back and do anything about those soul ties. Sometimes you connect yourself with people sexually, and you have to then try to take years to get away from that. You got to take years to pull away from what you have now um, connected yourself with. So when it comes to cheating, if a person loves you, I can't say that if they love you, they won't cheat. What I will say is, if they love you, they should have the fortitude to work on their character enough to try to avoid that component. And then it also makes me wonder, because I used to ask my ex, like, what can I do to be a better wife? It makes me wonder, like, is there communication going on in that marriage? Is there communication going on in that relationship? Like, how often do you all come together to converse? Like, for me, I know in any relationship that I enter into, we're going to have a weekly dinner, a weekly meeting, weekly date, weekly something, even if it's just at the house. If it's just when we get off work today, if we know every Thursday, if something happens and he has to change his schedule, I have to change mine. But we know every Thursday at 7:30 or every Thursday at 6 p.m. we meeting at the house, and we're either going somewhere to get something to eat, or we're gonna sit here at the house and talk for 2 hours. We're gonna set aside that time for us. And those things are very important to build a relationship that helps to guard from things such as cheating. You can't control anyone when it comes to those components. You have to know that those are inner core decisions that we make. Like, inside of me, I don't ever want to do anything that's going to disappoint or hurt my partner. And so, in me understanding that, I then walk in a certain way because I want to always represent him a certain way. I want to always present myself to him a certain way. I want to always make sure that I'm giving him the best version of me. And in that, why then would I lower my dating compatibility if I don't want to um if I don't want to give him that best version of me? So I just think that we have to be intentional with our dating compatibility, and when we look at that, then we make better decisions. Like, once I made the decision that it's okay with me if I'm not able to date um, someone seriously, and it's becoming more of a reality for me than it was maybe 6 months ago. But what I gathered from my dating experience is I have become a better version of me. And if nothing else came out of that process, I have to be grateful for that. I have to thank God for polishing me up even the more in areas that I felt like I wasn't going to be polished. So, nice 2 hours watching Netflix. Well, people have this thing about, thank you so much for your comments too, because it gives me talking points. And I'm gonna get ready to end this video because it's going on now. It's almost 30 minutes. But let me just say this: some of the best relationships are the Netflix and chill. I know people have they frown upon that, but I have to think about the type of guy that I would likely be engaged with, right? The type of guy that I'm going to likely be engaged with is going to be likely a working class guy. He's probably going to just be an average brother that works every day, that goes to work 40, 60 hours a week. His timeline may only allow for us to do Netflix and chill. It may only allow for us to, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. His timeline may only allow for us to do Netflix and chill. His timeline may only allow for us to go to dinner right down the road. It might not give the luxury of um, going out all the time to some fancy restaurant. And I think that that is a misconception that society puts out there. Everything that when you see people, there's this one couple, they get ready to have their 10th baby. And in my mind, you know, they got a really nice channel. I think they're making money now, probably very heavily off of the videos that they post. But I have a couple of thoughts about that. You know, 10 children, your body is really, really, it is tired after 10 kids. And then what is the economic factor that goes into that? Because definitely, you know, she can't work and she's not going to be able to have a job or anything of that, any fulfillment. Is she going to be upset with him 10 years from now when she's spent most of her youth doing just motherhood? Or is that really a place that she's really, really happy with? But also, I look at things like their house is always like very, very spick and span. They got to have some domestic help, but they don't tell you that while they're doing their videos. In the videos, it looks like, hey, the house is just always spick and span. If you got 10 kids, that house ain't always looking like that every day. It is just not. There's no way. It's impossible. You can train and you can teach people and you can help cultivate them a certain way. But I was a mother of two. And even now that I've been in school this past year, working a full-time job, going to school full-time, there were times that my house had to take a back seat. There were times that we ate dinner and I had to leave the dishes in the sink. There were times that I had to not clean my bathroom every Friday, but it got to every other Friday. So people don't talk about the realistic portions of that. They don't talk about that's real if I needed to do homework. They don't speak about those things. They only show you the glorified side of it. And therefore, it's a skewed mindset that people have that, oh, this is the way that it is. No. When I was married, I had a housekeeper. I had somebody, y'all, it was a bumblebee. I had somebody that came in once a month or once every 2 months, and she helped to keep me organized. And so guess what? Yes, my house could look like a model home when I had her. But once she was gone, yes, I didn't have that additional assistance. She had one job, and that was to come in consistently and make sure that my house was organized and straightened up the way that it needed to be. So realistically, we do not take ownership of those things. Okay, I'm gonna get ready to close out, guys, because I don't want this to be too long. Thank you. You say you appreciate the insight and honesty. Yes, because here's the deal. And since I see your name, I'm assuming that you're a guy. If you are working every day and you are getting up, going to work, you're making sure that the house is taken care of. You know, little things like right now, my sons and I are working on some little minor things, some doors that needed to be fixed, got some siding that needs to be redone. I just had some gutters put up on my home, you know, working on the garage door, things of that sort. If I didn't have to deal with that, right? This is kind of the way I look at life. If there was someone in my life and we were, and I'm just speaking from a marital perspective, if I was married and I didn't have to manage those things, just guess how many other things that I could manage for him. I could then, and I'm still cooking. My boys, they ate the other day. I cooked, let me tell y'all what I cooked. I cooked turkey necks, I cooked neck bones, collard greens, yellow rice. What else did I do? Oh, I did like zucchini, squash, and broccoli vegetable. It was like a vegetable medley. I cut up a few onions in there. I don't do a lot of onions, but my boys, they were like, "Mama, this is so good. This is great. This is great." I was like, "Good," because you know I was teasing with them. I'm fattening y'all up because I got to get ready to go out here in the yard. And I'm saying that to say that if I could do that and still manage all the other things, what if someone was there to take those components off of my plate and then I could just manage that part of what I needed to do for him? It's a yin for a yang, guys. And so that's why in your dating compatibility, you don't want to settle for someone that is not going to give you exactly what you are going to give them. Now, This the last plug I'm going to give. That does not mean that you hold out on what you would give. I do find that in this dating process, no one wants to give. And you have to be willing to give. You got to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to go the extra mile in order to make sure that you're seeing whether or not this person is really compatible for you. I'm not saying jump out there and do anything crazy, but I am saying don't put yourself in such a pigeonhole that you don't even give yourself the opportunity to see whether or not the person is a good fit for you. And so for me, yeah, every guy gets the same opportunity. When we come, we're going to laugh, we're going to talk, we're going to joke. You know, they're going to get my funny personality. They're going to get all of that. And then if he is one that is fit for me, guess what? Then we'll move forward to the next step. Let's go to another dinner. Do you want to catch this movie? Hey, what do you think about going bowling? I would like to check out, there's this putt-putt place that I really want to go to. And I was like, okay, it don't look like I'm going to have nobody to go with me. So I think I'm going to go by myself. It doesn't matter. Guess what? I want to experience that. And I can't wait until I meet my person in order to do that. So just know that if you meet someone, you enjoy them, take the time to enjoy their time. And Billy, yes, there are some women out here that I won't say I think Netflix and chill is what you should only do, but I think realistically you have to look at what that person's lifestyle is like. If they are a working class person, and in full transparency, there have been a couple of guys that I've met, and you know, the opportunity just was not there for us to do major dinners. We had to do lunch, we had to do breakfast because they worked the night shift, and so it did not work out where you know, you would be able to always do a dinner and dress up and all of that good stuff. So y'all, just remember your dating compatibility, there is such a thing, and you need to make sure that whatever standards that you have, you maintain those standards and you continue to be authentically you. That's the one thing that I think that I vibe on, is that I try to be me, because whoever he meets in the beginning is pretty much who he's going to get from here on out. And so if he likes that girl, it's just going to be more of her. If he doesn't like her, then it just means that I wasn't his cup of tea. And I'm okay with that. And that's the piece that we have to understand. We are not cut out for every person. But I do believe that God has a group of people. I don't think it's just one person. I think there are groups of men that would truly enjoy my presence. I think that there are groups of women that would truly enjoy your presence. You just have to find the right group. And you have to find the right ones that are going to be a good fit for you. And then once you get to that group, then you narrow it down to who would be the best fit overall for me. All right, y'all. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. And I appreciate the comments that are out there. Again, I still have not figured out how to respond to the comments after the live is over. After I finish this class in July, I may take a week or so and just kind of dove into some YouTube directives and learn a little bit more about the channel. But I don't think that I'm gonna hop back on just yet. So y'all got 40 minutes almost today. But just remember, I haven't been online in what, 6 weeks almost. So I'll be back in a little bit. But just know that I'm just taking some time to do some things for me and making sure that I'm okay. And let me know if there's something that you would like to talk about. Like, put it in the comments after the video is released. And then I'd be happy to come back and, you know, chat with you. You can also go to my, if you go to my description, you can get my email and you can send me an email via that location. It's at meditationswithmarigny@gmail.com. All right. Thank you guys. Have an awesome day, y'all. Bye. Let me see. I got to figure out how to turn this off, y'all.